In this lecture, we're setting up our rotation so we can rotate to the right and rotate to the left, and I'm going to use this as an excuse to do a little bit of an else if and also setting up some parameters and arguments in a method. Let's get started. Just a quick one that I'm finding a little bit annoying. When I click on the rocket, it takes me to the prefab game object visuals. It's underneath my actual parent that's got all of my rigid body and box collider and scripts on it. And when I click on it, I want to go to this higher level. I think what's going on here is I need to prefab my player rocket. So I'm going to open up my prefabs folder and drag my entire player rocket game object down into there. Now that's a prefab. Now I think when I click on that, yeah, it keeps me at the parent level. It's one of those quirks. I don't think that happened in past versions of Unity, but sometimes these quirks kind of sneak in and you only realize them when you go through a workflow often and you're like, hang on a minute, what am I doing wrong here? Or maybe it's always been the case and I'm just being a dunderhead. What do we want to do with our rotation? Well, you can see we're going to rotate around the Z or Z axis. And the reason I say that is that's the one that's going into the screen. And that's the one when I go to rotation, Z or Z, it rotates around that. Oh, but hang on a minute. Why is it doing that? It hasn't done that before. It's only doing it now. That's because we've got this relationship between our parent game object and our rocket inside it game object. And so if I was to click on my object inside and push that down a little bit, that'll be relative to the parent. So the parent stays at this position in the world, whereas the rocket or the actual visuals, the child game object, is now minus 0.4 lower than my parent game object. So that's a good thing to know. Children's coordinates are always relative to the parent, and the parent's coordinates are always in the world space. So now I've moved it down a little bit. We'll move it down a little bit more to see if this actually get an extreme example. Now when I click on my player rocket and rotate around the Z or the Z axis, okay, it's rotating way too high up at the top. We need to fix our collision box in a moment as well. So let's grab our child object, move it up a little bit. I think it's going to be around about there. Click back on the player rocket and rotate left and right. And you know what? I'm a little bit silly. Up in the top left, I believe if I click on pivot instead of clicking on center, that will show me exactly, yep, that's where we're pivoting around. So if I wish to click on my rocket, move it down a little bit, click back on my parent, and I'm still clicked on pivot, you can see that the pivot has moved up because it's relative to the overall mass of the game object that we've got here. So now it's pivoting more in the middle. Okay, sorry, it took a while. Should have clicked on that straight away, the pivot button up in the top left. Now let's just quickly tidy up our collision and move it down a little bit. Better get this guy above the launch pad. Okay, good enough for now. Now let's talk about what we came here to do, which is to get the actual rotation happening. So over into our movement class, we want to scroll down and find where we're processing our rotation. I don't need my debug statement anymore. We'll get rid of that. What I do need to do is say, if my rotation input is a positive value, then rotate to the right. And if it's a negative value, rotate to the left. So we'll start by creating ourselves an if statement. So if parentheses, rotation input, that's our variable just up above there, is what? If we want it to rotate to the right, do we want it to be positive? So greater than symbol, 0. That means if it's a positive value, it's going to do the following thing we want to tell it to do. This is where we're going to use our transform.rotate. So transform.rotate, parentheses, we need to put in here a vector 3. And if we go back and have a look at Unity, the vector 3, we're on our rocket ship here. The vector 3 is going to be to do with rotation. So we want 0 on the X, 0 on the Y, and something on the Z or on the Z. So we could type this as 0, 0, 1. If we were being good, we would put Fs in there because I believe this is going to be a float. And that should rotate to the right. So every time we process rotation, it will rotate positive on that Z or Z axis. There's another way to write this, similar to how we had another way to write vector 3.up. We can write vector 3.forward. And if you mouse over vector 3.forward, that says to us, mouse over it, that says it's the same as 0, 0, 1. So let's leave it at that for now. Put a semicolon at the end, save, jump back into Unity and see if that actually works. Click on play. Now when I zoom up in the air a little bit and push to the right, oh, I go the wrong way. Okay, I completely messed up. And you can easily see if I go back into my world, I can see that despite the fact that I thought it should be a positive value would rotate to the right, it's actually a positive value rotates to the left. That's okay. Just means we need to go back into our class in here. Instead of rotate, input is greater than 0. We'll make this less than 0. Click on save. Now back into Unity. Click on play and push to the left, and now we rotate to the left with the left arrow key, and the left arrow key is actually making it rotate to the left, which is what we want. Here's a little micro challenge for you. Set up another if statement so that we can rotate to the right. So pause the video and see if you can do that. Okay, there's a little bit of a tricky challenge. I'm a little bit naughty setting this for you, but hopefully you're a clever sausage and you figure this out. So I'm going to highlight my if statement, copy that, and then paste this down just below. If rotation input is greater than 0, you might have looked at this and said, well, what do I do now? You could go back in and say 0, 0, -1, or you could type in minus vector 3 dot forward. That's doing the same thing. It's basically saying apply a negative symbol to anything which is in here, and we know that vector 3 dot forward is 0, 0, 1, so therefore it's going to be -0, which is 0, -0, which is 0, and -1. Let's see if that works. Click on save, back into Unity. Click on play. Just a side note, I've got to change this camera soon. Yep, to the right, to the left. There we go. We're actually rotating. It's very slow. It's very awful. Boom. But it's going to be fun, I think. But it's too slow. We need control over it, etc. There's one other thing I want to look at with this code here, and it's an excuse to do a slightly different technique. I'll give you that, is that we've got this situation now that's saying, if we're doing this, do something. If we're doing that, do something. What if we're doing them both at the same time? And logically, we don't think we can have a positive and a negative value on rotation input at the same time, but who knows, maybe we could. Maybe there's some way for that to happen. So it's good practice to have a look at these things and say, okay, we don't want someone to ever to be able to do both of those things at the same time. And the way that we can do that is say if for the first statement and then else if for the next statement. So it's basically saying if you see that going on, do this thing. Otherwise, or else if you see this going on, do that. But this will mean that these are mutually exclusive. You can't be doing that and that at the same time. So I don't think that would have been a bug in our game, but I just wanted to teach you that and show that else if is a way of making these mutually exclusive, so you can't do the same thing at the same time. Now, we're rotating too slowly, and also we don't have this frame rate independent. So here's a challenge for you. Set yourself up a variable, which I'm going to call rotation strength for me, and make your rotation frame rate independent and tunable. So I don't have a challenge slide for this, but pause the video and take on that challenge. Okay, so a little hint just up here. This is what we did in our add relative force for our thrusting. I'll jump all the way up to the top. It's good to keep these things grouped together. So all of my serialized field tunable variables float, and I will call this rotation strength equals, I don't know, 100F, just as a guess. It's going pretty slow at the moment. Scroll all the way down. Now, vector 3 dot forward multiplied by rotation strength multiplied by time dot fixed delta time. And I'm going to highlight that, copy it, and pop it down just below in this other statement as well. And one thing you notice is our negative symbol here is looking a little bit ugly at the start. What I would do is actually remove it from there and put it against negative rotation strength. So we're saying the power of all this is going to be negative strength. It's a little bit easier to read, but this in itself is also a little bit messy. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's just check that this works. So we'll save, jump back to Unity. I don't like getting too far ahead. I don't like starting the party and inviting everyone around. Look at what we've done. And then later on to figure out that it didn't actually work. Goes to the right, goes to the left. It's a bit faster. It's not looking too bad actually, is it? Is it at all? Yeah, there we go. So that's working, but we've got a little bit of a mess in our code. We've written the exact same thing 2 times with one little slight difference, which is totally fine. We could leave it like that, but I want to show you another technique for refactoring your code. And I want an excuse, to be honest, to show you how to add a parameter when you've got a method. So let's go through that process now. What I'll do is highlight my transform.rotate statement, all of that, hit control period or control full stop, find extract method as we did just in the last lecture, I think it was. And we've got new method in here. I'm going to highlight that, hit F2, renaming all of the instances where it says new method. And I'm going to change this to apply rotation as the name for that. So it's got apply rotation there, apply rotation down here. Apply rotation now is our good statement, transform.rotate, etc. which means we can also add in our else if statement, we can change that to be apply rotation. And there we go. We've tidied all that up. However, those clever amongst you will see that, but we need this one to go the other way. And methods don't work that way. You can't just stick a negative sign in front of a method and have it know what's going on. So the way that we're going to resolve this is with a parameter. Yeah, very exciting. I've been wanting us to create a parameter. So what we'll be doing is passing in a value into here, into our apply rotation, saying, do this thing. And for this one, we'll say, do the positive thing. And this one will say, do the negative thing. So within our apply rotation method, this is the first phase of asking for arguments or setting up parameters in our method, is we jump into the parentheses for apply rotation and we say, we're looking for a value of pretty much how strongly we need to rotate every single frame that we're doing this. So we need to give it a type, float, and then I'll call this rotation this frame, just to be really clear that what we're doing is saying how much do we rotate this frame and this frame and this frame, and that can change every single frame. And then now that we've asked for anything that's calling apply rotation, we've said you need to tell me how much you want me to rotate, and then we're going to do something with this rotation. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to replace rotation strength. And it's showing this that this variable is a parameter that was passed into us, and we're using it down in here. We're not just going up and saying, give me rotation strength, and it's going to be the same every single time. We're saying, no, we want you to pass a parameter. We don't know what it's going to be. It could be different, could be big, it could be small. Just give us what you want us to do. Cool, so apply rotation is all now set up, which means here we've got this red squiggly line, which is saying, apply rotation needs some parameters. What do you want us to do? And here is the big test to see if you've been following. And if you haven't, it's probably because I've explained it poorly, so my apologies. But see if you can figure out what to put as the parameter in this apply rotation and that apply rotation. Well, here's the hint for you. We already set ourselves up a variable, which is rotation strength. And each time we call apply rotation, we'll say, if we're wanting to rotate to the left, then let's just do straight up rotation strength. So we're just passing in the value from here. At the moment it's 100. We're passing in that value when we call apply rotation. And then rotation strength is going to be passed into this rotation, this frame. We could have called that rotation strength as well. We could have called the whole stuff, but it gets a little bit confusing when you've got member variables. This is a member variable up here. It can be used by everything in this class. And you've got something which is a parameter. I try not to call them the same name, even if they're kind of doing the same thing. So we're passing in that number into here, and then that number is being used here to do the rotation, which means we can have minus rotation strength at this point. So that tidies everything up visually. When we do process rotation, we're going to do a positive rotation, we're going to do a negative rotation, and then apply rotation is this method down below. Once again, let's save before we invite all the neighbors over and have our big party and celebration, and look how clever we are for doing rotation by adding a parameter and passing in our arguments. Let's click on play, up and to the right, yeah, and to the left, yeah, as well, and all sorts of noddy, it's hopping on its head type stuff, which is what we love. So there we go, we've set up our rotation. There's still some more tidy up to do, but for now, it's looking not too bad. Good stuff. I'll see you in the next lecture.